Hi, I'm Tati, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make Katara's necklace. So this is Katara's necklace from Avatar The Last Airbender. She wears it in almost every episode, and I decided to make a crochet version when I did the Avatar The Last Airbender book tag, which I will leave a link to in the description if you're interested in watching that. And I decided to make this video showing you how I did it. As you can see, this necklace is made up of 3 parts. We have the choker band, the pendant, and the little golden clasp. I decided to crochet every part of the necklace. If you have like a golden clasp, you can just clasp these 2 pieces together and you don't have to make it. But I just decided to make it because I'm more comfortable crocheting. And you can see on the back how I attached them, which I will show you again later. This whole necklace is made out of crochet thread, and I used Aunt Lydia's Classic 10 crochet thread, and I got it in this dark blue color for the choker band, and this aqua-ish color. I'm not sure what it's called, and I haven't figured out a way to use them without taking off the label, so neither of these have labels. I'll look it up and I'll leave the color names in the description if you want to use the exact same colors that I did. And I also used the Aunt Lydia's crochet thread metallic size 10 for the little gold part, and I used it in gold. And for each part of this necklace I used the same sized hook. It's a 1.5 millimeter hook, or a US 7. The first part of the necklace I'm going to show you how to make is the band, or the choker. So our dark blue crochet thread, or whatever color you prefer, and our crochet hook, and my scissors. Scissors, always important to have on hand when crocheting. So the first thing you're gonna do is make a knot at the end of your string, and now you're going to chain. This chain is going to differ slightly between different people. You'll want to measure around your neck and see what'll fit. I would do a little bit more than just the ends meeting, because the way that I clasp the necklace is that it goes through a hole. So you want to be able to clasp it, so it needs to be a little bit bigger than what will fit perfectly around your neck. You already have a loop on your hook from making your knot, so all you're going to do is yarn over and pull through, and that's one chain. And you just keep doing this until your chain is long enough to be your choker. And for me that means chaining 130. And so you don't have to sit here and watch me chain 130 stitches. I will talk to you guys again when I have 130. So once you have the right size for you, chain 2. One, 2. And the pattern now is to skip those 2, yarn over, and put a double crochet into that 3rd chain from the hook. A double crochet is when you yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2, and then yarn over and pull through the last 2. So it's going to be 1 double crochet in each chain all the way to the end of the chain. So again, I'm going to cut it here, and I will jump back in when I'm at the end. I have reached the end of my chain, which means I now have a double crochet in every one of my chain stitches. So now that that is done, and we're at the end, this next round is a little bit more tricky. I will have the written pattern in the description. And for the next row, we're going to chain 2, and then turn the work. So we're going to skip over these 2 that we just chained. That's going to count as our turning chain, so we don't do anything with that. But we are going to do, in the next 5 double crochets, we are going to do 1 double crochet in each of them. So 1, and I'm sorry if it's hard to see it, crochet thread is probably not the best to teach with. So once you have your 5 double crochets, you're going to, in your next 5 double crochets, do single crochets. And I know it probably doesn't make much sense right now why we're doing this, but it will eventually. In a single crochet, you just pull through, yarn over, pull through. That's just a single crochet. So you're going to do that for your next 5 and 5. Now we're going to do 1 double crochet in each double crochet the rest of the way, almost to the end. We're going to leave 10 at the end that we're not going to do double crochets in. So I will do those double crochets, and then I will jump back in when we have 10 left. As you can see, I'm now at the end and I have 10 stitches left. And in these last 10, we're just going to do single crochets, just like we did at the beginning with those 5. These 5 right here. We're going to just do 10 single crochets in these last 10 stitches. And there's our 10 single crochet. And it makes a little dip, just like at the beginning. So now we're on our 3rd and final row. And to get that started, we're going to chain 2. 1, 2, and turn. This next part is also kind of complicated. It's not hard. It's the same stitches we've been doing. It's just that there are a lot of instructions. And in the first 4 single crochets we have here, we're going to do single crochets. So that's our 4 single crochets. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to chain 2, just like if we were turning. 2. So we chained 2. And now what we're going to do is skip these next 2 single crochets. And the next 4 single crochets are going to be single crochets. So we skip 2 and then do 4 single crochets. So skip 1, skip 2, and in number 3 we do a single crochet. So the reason for that is to make this little hole here, which is going to come in handy later on. So next, the trick is to just do double crochets in all the next double crochets. So we're going to keep doing double crochets until we get to the dip where there's single crochets. We're going to stop right before there. So I am again going to cut this so you don't have to sit here and watch me do a million double crochets, and I will jump back in when we are right here, right before the single crochets start. Alright, so I've done my double crochets all the way to where we have our 5 single crochets. So now what we're going to do is we're going to chain 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now we have a chain of 5. We're just going to take our chain of 5 right here and bring it over the 5 single crochets and make a double crochet in our first double crochet on this side. Okay, you're going to pull that through. 1, 2. So what that does is leaves this hole right here, which we're going to use to clasp the necklace shut at the end. So now to finish it off, what we're going to do is just do one double crochet in each of the next 4 double crochets. So double crochet until the end. So to finish off, I'm just going to cut my yarn right here and then make a slip stitch by just pulling that through and pulling it tight. And then you have a knot right there. And we are almost finished with this band. There are just a couple last little things to still do. And the first one is to add a sort of button right here. But because I wanted to do this completely with yarn, I'm going to make a sort of yarn button. So for that, I'm going to get my hook, still my 1.5 hook, and make a knot on it. And then I'm going to come right in here, and on the inside part of this hole, right up here in this stitch, I'm going to make a slip stitch. Just to connect it right there. Okay, and pull that tight. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back into that stitch and do a single crochet. So pull through, yarn over, and pull through. So you now have a single crochet right in there. Let's see if I can get it. You have a single crochet, and into that single crochet you're going to put 2 single crochets. Kind of turn it as if you were turning your work, even though it's just a single crochet, and just put your hook into that stitch, pull through, yarn over, pull through, and into that same space you're going to do another one, and that's 2 single crochets. And this just makes like this little bump right here. Cut the thread, pull through all the way, and pull tight, and that's not going anywhere. Now, before I work in the tails, which means getting rid of all these loose caterpillar looking strings, let me show you. We have this part of the necklace, which is smaller and fits into this hole right here, and as you can see, I've turned it so that the button is on the inside, which means it will be pressing up against your neck in the back so that it's not visible on the outside. And what you would do is you put the smaller part through the hole from the top, not this way, which I think is how I showed you earlier, not this way, but this way, so that you can hide that end. This way both ends of the necklace go under each other, so they can kind of be hidden, especially if you can manage to pull the button through the other small hole. You remember that little small hole we made? That is so that this button can be pulled through that little hole. And that just gives it some extra security so that it'll be clasped like that. So to work in the tails, I don't really like to break out a sewing needle to do this, which is what you're supposed to do. So I usually just try to get a smaller crochet hook. And to do this, I will just go into the stitches that are around where the tail is, and I will just keep pulling it through these different stitches. So I'll keep doing that until I feel like I can pull on it to make it stretch out as much as possible. Cut it very close and then stretch the rest of it back out. And then it's hidden in there after you stretch it back out. So that's how I hide in the tails. And that is how to make the choker part of this necklace. Now, this one actually came out bigger than my sample one. As you can see, it's bigger this way and this way. Width and length is slightly bigger, and I think that's just from my tension being looser on this one and tighter on this one. But as long as you're measuring as you go, it shouldn't be a problem. Once you get the measurement for that first chain that we did for a round, it should be, as long as you work off of that, you should be fine. So next we're going to do the pendant, this circle. I'm using this color, which I don't know the name of because I lost the label. And again, I'm using the 1.5 millimeter hook. So to start off this pendant, I am going to use the magic circle. You can do this two ways. You can either do it by making a slip knot like we did before, chaining 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then slip stitching into the first stitch to make a circle. And then you can work in this circle just like a magic circle. I am going to be using the magic circle instead of chaining because I prefer the magic circle when it's something that I really don't want a hole in the middle of, because when you use the magic circle you can pull it as tightly closed as you want, and since that will be the center of our pendant, I want it to be able to close it completely. So I'm going to show you how I use the magic circle. It took me a while to learn how to use this, but I do use it a lot now. So what you do, or at least what I do, I'm sure there are other ways of doing it, you take the thread or yarn over 2 of my fingers, hold it with my thumb, wrap it over, and wrap it around again. This is what it looks like on the bottom. And what you do is you take this back loop, twist your hook up like this, and then you take this string and pull it through. You're going to go in here and you're going to work 4 single crochets into this loop. 2, 3, and 4. And that probably wasn't a great explanation of the magic circle. You can let me know in the comments if you want me to make a separate video just showing how to make the magic circle. But in the magic circle, you will be doing 4 single crochets, and then you pull it tight. Can you see that tiny circle? We're going to chain 3. So 1, 2, 3, and we're going to put 11 double crochets into the circle. Not into the stitches around the circle, just straight into the middle. So basically over those stitches. And 11. Okay, and now you can pull this string, and it will make the circle close up completely. We are counting that first chain of 3 as a double crochet, so that means we have 12. We are going to join with a slip stitch into that top of that chain 3, and we are going to join with a slip stitch after each round. So after we finish the next round, but before we start the third one, we will do a slip stitch, and then at the end of the third one there will also be a slip stitch. To begin each round, you're going to chain 3. 2, 3, and then you will continue with the round. So for this round, we're going to be doing 2 double crochet in each stitch around, which will give us 24. So I'm going to do that, and then I will jump back in. So I now have 24 double crochets, which is actually 23 double crochets and our chain 3, which counts as a double crochet. So we're going to join to the top of that chain 3 with a slip stitch, and then we're going to chain 3. 1, 2, 3, and we're going to do a pattern of 2 double crochets in the next double crochet, and then 1 in the one after that. So it's going to be a pattern of 2, 1, 2, 1, and that should give us 36 double crochets once we get all the way around. So it'll be 2 in this one, because our chain 3 counts as 1, and 1 in the next one, 2, and 1. And just do that all the way around, and I will meet back up with you when I get there. Alright, so I've made it all the way back around, and I'm going to finish off this with a slip stitch into the top of that chain 3 we did at the beginning of the round. And there is the circle pendant. Cut the yarn and pull it through to make a knot, and work in this tail in the same way. Now for the water tribe design on the pendant. I'm going to show you how I did this one, and I just drew it on with a Sharpie, this Sharpie in particular. You can do this however you want. I tried embroidering the design on first, and I didn't like the way it was coming out, so I decided to just try it with a Sharpie. And so far, if you let the ink dry, it doesn't really run. So I'm going to draw it on this one. Probably not any better than I did on this one. But if you can come up with a different way to do it, by all means do it that way. And there it is. So now we have the last part of our necklace to make, which is the little golden clasp. Which really, this is just a crochet triangle. And I'll show you how I did it. I'm using the Aunt Lydia's metallic crochet thread so that I could get that gold that sparkles. And I'm again going to be using the 1.5 millimeter crochet hook. So again, we start off with the knot. And we are going to chain 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We are going to turn so that we can crochet into our chain. We're going to skip 1, and we are going to single crochet for the next 4, which will give us 4 single crochets at the end. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. We're going to turn again, crochet in each of the first 2 single crochets. So 1, 2, and then we're going to crochet the last 2 together for a decrease. So what that means is we're going to stick our crochet hook through 1 of these single crochets, pull the thread through, and instead of yarning over and pulling through, we're going to stick it into the next one, pull through, and then yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. So we just crocheted those 2 together to make them 1. And now we have 3. When we turn, we have 3 single crochets to work with. Do 1 single crochet and then decrease the next 2 together. Giving us 2 stitches, turn, single crochet these 2 together, and it leaves us with 1, and that is how you make it. Then it's just a slip stitch to finish it off. So you just cut that, and you pull this through. And for such a simple little triangle, this is the part that gave me the hardest time. So if you're also having trouble with it, I will leave the written directions in the description. This is what mine looks like. It's a little triangle, little golden triangle. Like that one. All that's left to do now is to put the pieces together. Make sure that the necklace is facing the right way up, so that way you can, when you chain it, the pendant will be on the outside. And with this one, I kind of did it upside down from how I wanted to. You can see how it kind of turns this way. Well, you can't really see because it's not zoomed out enough, but you can see how it kind of turns this way, so I would have preferred to do it like this and put the pendant coming down this way, but I didn't. So with this one, that's what we're gonna do, but you can do it really either way. It doesn't really matter. And I didn't mention it before, but it's really important not to cut off these ends from your triangle, because this is what's going to attach the pendant to the necklace. And because I didn't really need this necklace for anything heavy duty, I really just knotted it together. So that's what I'm going to show you how to do. So first I found where I wanted to put it on the pendant. Found an in between the stitches and pulled the tail out. And just pull it around a stitch. Any stitch that you can get it around. So you attached it in the front by just like knotting it up in the back, and that's the same thing you're going to do to attach it to the necklace. You just find the spot kind of in the center where you want the pendant to be, and you just go through the back and tie some knots. So you just pull it through. And you can tie it right around this stitch. Just pull it back up on the other side of the triangle. Pull it back down and then tie it back here somewhere. And that's how you make the necklace. This is what it looks like on the back. Here, this one too. This is what they look like. I made the choice to put the pendant above the necklace because that's how it looks in the pictures and in the show to me. You can put it wherever you like. So that's how to make this cosplay crochet Katara necklace. You can let me know in the comments if you have any questions. Also let me know if you make this either in the comments or through social media. I'd love to see how your necklaces come out. So subscribe if you want to see more. Also let me know in the comments if you have any other ideas for some crochet or crafts that I could do that are fandom or book related. If you watched my Avatar The Last Airbender book tag, you know that I also wore a kind of wrap when I was cosplaying as Katara. There will be a link in the description to the video that has the pattern that I used to make that if you're interested in making that. Thanks for watching. Bye. It doesn't work if I cover it up. Why am I showing it to you upside down? I don't know how much of this rambling is going to end up in the video.